What's up, constituents? Good morning. I'm actually in Manhattan. I drove in from Long Island this morning. It's eerily quiet here, so quiet I can film a YouTube video in the street with no mic, and I'm pretty sure you can hear me pretty well. So I came into the city because I went to Mount Sinai, and they took my blood. They're testing it to see if I have enough antibodies to participate in a new treatment approach where they'd be using people that have recovered from COVID, using their plasma to treat patients with COVID. So the idea, the antibodies in your plasma would help fight the disease in somebody else. I signed up online a few weeks ago, and I was called in this morning. I met one of the doctors there, and hopefully she'll be coming on the show to talk about the program and the success of the program. She says they've already successfully started extracting plasma from people that appear to have enough antibodies, and then actually using it to treat people. So it's moving forward, and that's exciting to see. But the testing in general and this concept of seeing if people have enough antibodies and whether or not they're immune kind of leads me to another thought, a big issue, which is this issue of whether or not governments should start testing people across the board for the purposes of seeing, who's immune and who's not immune. So we're actually, as dystopian as that may sound, we're actually seeing this take place potentially in countries like Italy. They're seriously talking about it. And it seems like they're starting to do it. Concept being that they would test people that had the virus, and if they show that they have enough antibodies and that they're determined to be immune, then they would be classified differently than people who haven't been able to show that immunity. So those people would be allowed to kind of start participating in society again, while everybody else would be asked to continue to social distance and stay home. So it's a real policy issue. It's a philosophical question. It's an ethical question. Kind of you're balancing public safety against getting societies up and running again. And you're also balancing public safety against preserving people's individual liberties, which in this country, that's more of a difficult balance to make, given the Constitution and what this country was founded upon. So that's it, and I hope to give you an update on my plasma testing soon and do a follow-up show on that.
A few days ago, I posted a poll on my @electtuman Twitter account asking people if they would be okay with their government issuing immunity passports to those who tested positive to having sufficient COVID-19 antibodies. Like I mentioned, governments around the world are considering versions of this approach as a way to get societies up and running again while reducing the risk of causing another wave of infection. The concept is people with immunity passports would be free to return to work and leave their homes to participate in open commerce again, while those without the passports would be asked to continue to stay home. Out of the 38 people that responded to the poll, 55% of them found this approach to be too draconian, while only 45% said yes, implementing a measure like this to protect the public's health first is okay, even if it restricts the liberties of the non-immune. I personally think mandated immunity passports may be too extreme of a measure, especially in America, where citizens hold a high expectation of liberty. Allowing governments to restrict liberties in such a way may set dangerous precedents, forever diminishing the openness and freeness of our society. I think the solution should be that governments assist in testing as many people as possible to see who has and has not yet had the disease, and inform people if they appear to have immunity or not. Governments can then recommend that people who are not showing immunity, or who have not had the disease yet and are of older age or are in certain risk categories, continue to stay home, while recommending to people who are showing immunity that they can go back to participating in open society. So I don't believe passports should be issued, but rather people should be tested, informed, and given advice on what they should be doing. No one wants to get sick, and no one wants to endanger their family or friends. So as we are already seeing, people will act responsibly once they are told if they appear to be immune or not. Plus, we don't want governments giving people who receive an immunity passport a false sense of security, since we do not yet know how immune someone can be. This avoids having to set dangerous liberty-eroding precedents while protecting the public health by giving citizens the information they need to act in a common sense way to protect themselves and their community.